Firms, also known as businesses or companies or corporations or any other term for producers, take inputs and turn them into output. If you were running a lemonade stand, your inputs are the lemon, sugar, water, ice, and cups, as well as your time and effort. The output is the lemonade. Every day there are millions of firms around the world taking inputs, the resources and raw materials we have, and turning them into the goods and services that satisfy people's needs and wants. In Adam Smith's vision of a free market economy with property rights, people own these businesses and the means of production. It is the owners of these means of production that reap the reward of profits. Entrepreneurs who wish to maximize their profits have an incentive to minimize their costs. I'm not talking about cutting corners or exploiting resources here. That sort of thing doesn't fly with Smith's vision and should be run out of town by competition. Instead, I mean that entrepreneurs aren't going to waste the resources they are using. They will try to maximize the output they can get out of every input. They can do this through strategies like the division of labor. Henry Ford was able to reduce the cost of making cars enormously by dividing the labor up across an assembly line. Many firms are able to find cost savings by outsourcing certain aspects of production. Coca-Cola doesn't own any aluminum mines, even though they need a lot of aluminum cans. It is a lot cheaper to buy the aluminum from a company that specializes in that production, which is further division of labor. Entrepreneurs will also seek out the lowest priced inputs. They don't want to overpay for the raw materials they need or the labor they hire. As the buyers of these things, they will be as thrifty as we consumers are when we buy their products. Entrepreneurs will also streamline their inventory systems, taking advantage of efficiency gains where they can. Business owners have an incentive to keep their inventory rooms organized, to have a clear system for ordering the inputs they need, and to coordinate the production process to eliminate waste. Entrepreneurs will also try to reduce risks. Through the diversification of processes, the expansion of production, or even the simple buying of insurance, business owners have an incentive to make sure their operation will last into the future. This not only means an efficient use of our resources today, but also concern for the continued efficient use into the future. In other words, firms have an incentive not to sacrifice long-term growth for short-term profit. If firms are minimizing their costs and maximizing their productive efficiency, we can consider how they will respond to market incentives. The market price is the amount a producer earns when they sell their product. It is the reward for production. Producers will supply a good when the price they earn covers the marginal cost of production. If a firm is able to earn $10 for the product they make, then they will continue to make more and more up until the point that producing one more unit will cost them more than $10. Due to the law of diminishing marginal returns, we expect the marginal costs for firms to increase, and so higher prices will incentivize more production. The market supply curve relates the price to the quantity supplied. It is a relationship we can put on a graph with price on the vertical axis and quantity supplied on the horizontal axis. You can think of the market supply curve as the answer to a call for production. It's as if we put up a wanted poster declaring a need for the product of some good or service. If we offer a low reward or a low price, then we will get a low response, a low quantity supplied. But as we increase the price that we pay for a good or service, more firms show up and start producing more of that thing. Each increase in price covers the higher costs associated with producing more of that good. When these are all connected, we have our supply curve. To get a real-world sense of what this means, think about the production of oil. If the price of oil is low, it will only cover the costs of the easy-to-get oil, the stuff that is close to the surface and easy to dig up. But as the price of oil rises, that incentivizes the use of more expensive methods of getting oil out of the ground, like expensive drilling deep into the earth. And as the price of oil goes up even further, it justifies the high costs of doing things like building huge oil rigs out in the ocean. Most supply curves are upward sloping for this reason. The supply curve is like a list. It tells us how many units of a good or service all the producers in the market will make at every possible price. But sometimes things change. The prices of raw materials or labor could change. Technology could change. We might experience a natural event like a hurricane or good weather that impacts production costs. Or we might just have a change in expectations or opportunity costs or just the number of producers operating in the market. Any changes which impact the cost of production change the answer to how many units of a good or service all the producers in the market will make at every possible price. Those changes will shift the supply curve. If the costs of production are reduced, it means that firms will produce more than they did before at every price. In that case, supply will shift to the right. As a general rule of thumb for graphs, an increase means a shift to the right, and a decrease means a shift to the left. If we reduce costs, supply will increase and shift to the right. We can see that at any given price, the quantity supplied by the market has increased compared to the previous supply. Whether the price was low or high, the quantity produced at every price has gone up when supply shifts to the right. Likewise, if there is an increase in the cost of production, firms will reduce their quantity supplied at every price. A decrease in supply means a shift to the left, like this. And now, at every price, the quantity supplied is lower than it was before. One tip is to think of these shifts as to the left or to the right. On the graph here, you may be tempted to say that supply is higher because the new supply appears to be above the old one. But that would be misleading. Supply represents the costs of production. So when supply decreases and shifts to the left, it represents an increase in costs. It's the costs that are going up, not supply. Supply tells us what quantity can be profitably produced at the price paid for it.